credit card on TikTok. Those are the worst. C'est parti.
I just use the card for the points.
Don't spend.
Points.
There is no points to be gained. You're losing to $11.50. What? What?
It's not worth me spending money in there if I need something, if I'm not getting the
You're
points.
losing $11 a month because you're not fully paid it off. Why add to the balance?
Oh, okay. Credit card points, one of the biggest marketing strategy from credit card company. You think they're gonna give money like this for free? In that case here, it seems like she's in quite a bit of debt, and using credit cards to just get points is definitely not gonna bring her anywhere.
Because this is how they get you, and it works on most people, and worked on me. So yeah.
Everyone say it with me. You're not a credit card person.
Yeah, not everyone is one, and in that case, she definitely is not one of those.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Using the ice method strategy to kind of freeze your credit card. I mean, this is one of the oldest trick. Pretty much put it in ice, and then it takes you sometimes to take it out with water. Is it the most effective? Maybe for some. There are so many other ways for you to prevent yourself from overspending. I mean, one of which is, well, you can always cut the credit card, although this can be complicated as you want to keep it active, maybe once a year transaction or so it keeps on your credit record. But I thought of another product as I looked into this. You have those time boxes, time delay boxes. You put it in a box, it's like $40 or so, and then you can put days until you use it. Everybody has their technique when it comes to, not spending on credit cards, which is one of the worst form of debt, as many of you know.
Girl math is buying an iPad with a credit card that has 5K debt because credit card equals free money.
Credit card equals free money? Let's go, man! I have 17 of those, please! No, come on, guys. We all know credit card is not free money. It's far from it. In fact, credit card companies are kind of milking us in terms of fees. 12 billions last year's. It's crazy. Let's look at another one of those kind of girl math strategy, if you see what I mean.
So today's girl math is that I owe $200 on my credit card, and I also owe $180 on a bill. So I'm going to pay the $200 to my credit card, and once that clears, I'm going to use my credit card to pay the $180 bill. So really, I got 2 bills paid for the price of one.
Yeah, so the math is mathing for this month. I don't know about next month. This can temporarily relieve the interest that you may accrue on your credit card, although, you're not really kind of helping the problem. You're kind of just delaying the ticking bomb when it comes to this. $180 hopefully is not so much. So I hope for you that you're going to be able to clear that soon. But in that case, the girl math is not mathing.
38%, almost 4 out of 10 households that make over $100,000 admitted to carrying credit card debt.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even if you're making 6 digits, you wouldn't believe the amount of people still carrying a balance on their accounts.
Using credit cards, actually carrying debt on a month-over-month basis, and 22% of those surveyed cited vacation and entertainment as a primary reason for that. So it wasn't because they were trying to figure out how to make the ends meet, or they were trying to figure out how to put groceries on the table. It was because they were making lifestyle decisions.
So I do audits for a living here, bringing some of the worst financial situations that exist in America, and I can tell you every time I see people with tens of thousands of dollars of credit cards, and I still spend on Starbucks and, let me take a trip to Hawaii or some sort. We had an accountant that had $150,000 of credit card debt and needed to recover taking a $6,000 trip to Hawaii. No, but guys, this is crazy. Somehow people think, and this is in some way quite exclusive to the US, being European myself, if you were to come to Europe and buy a mattress on a credit card that you're not gonna pay and install payments, people will laugh at you. Now, let's be honest, this is ridiculous. A ton of people are carrying credit card debts. I actually have some stats. 60% of Americans are carrying a balance month over month on their credit card, and the average amount of debt that Americans own is $7,000. And this doesn't just apply to minimum wage workers.
So even though they have a higher income, they have not mastered making those decisions necessary to actually be good with money.
Well, 1 of 3 Americans with credit cards, it's the same data point, but now the income's $150,000,
even
still
higher.
a third. So even though these people made 50% more income, it was still close to a third could not pay their credit cards off.
Yeah, this is paycheck to paycheck living. Man, the American system is not supportive of stuff like this. You have to at least take care of your finances and of the money that you have. You do not spend money that you don't have.
I guess while I'm releasing all this shame today, now would be a good time to admit that I'm $20,000 in credit card debt and literally am living client to client and relying on my husband, but my husband's also silently suffering as well because he's had to pick up all of the slack.
The husband, as we can see, is in $57 of credit card debt as well.
As I have stayed home to take care of our daughter.
So they have a child that's also quite costly here in our current system.
And lost all motivation that I had, all of the drive that I had, the creative abilities that I have, all to alcohol.
I mean, she is not alone. Many of us and many of you may be watching also kind of have some of those symptoms when it comes to high expensive debt. In fact, 40% of Americans consider credit card debt as one of the key elements for their stress. So when you come to situations like this, you kind of feel crumble, right? You just have to, kind of put a break for a minute, know that there are systems in play and kind of cards that you can still use no matter what. There is always a solution. In that case, let's see how she ends the video.
So here's to digging myself out of $20,000
Nice.
in debt, as well as giving up smoking and drinking.
That's good, good resolutions. We are close to 2025, guys. It's not over. Hopefully she makes it out. It's gonna take some time, and if you just pay your minimum payments, she's not gonna make any efforts. For the most part, it's gonna take us years. You have to think, credit card is about 28 to 30% interest. So every year you're paying about 1/3 of the balance that you owe. So if you owe $10,000, you're gonna pay $3,000 of interest. So in that case, she's paying what? At least $21,000 of interest that they are paying. $2,000 per month while carrying a child.
I have $47,000 worth of credit card debt, and I recently shared how much was on each card and what the minimum payments are, but I keep getting asked what the interest rate is on each card, so let's go through them. This card has a 28.24% interest rate. This one has 28.15%. This one is at 27.24%. Topping it off at 29.99%, 20.74%.
Woo! Guys, it gets spicy. 20, 25%. Any form of debt in my eyes that has more than 10% interest, you shouldn't do anything else other than maybe having a small emergency fund of a couple thousand, maybe 2,000 to 3,000, and everything else should attack that debt. Attack the debt. The highest interest first. Now, in that case, depending on her credit, she could be considering debt consolidation or, transfer balance, where you're transferring some of that money towards a 0% credit card. This generally gives you about a year or so to get yourself back on your feet. Let me go a little bit more advanced here. All right, guys, this is gonna be controversial. If you don't wanna file for bankruptcy and you cannot pay your credit cards right now, and you wanna have a 2 to 3 year plan, okay, to pay back your credit cards. Because right now she's probably maintaining her credit score, but because her credit card utilization is so high, at the end of the day, the game is gonna be similar. What I would do, stop all payments on your credit cards. Let them go to collections. At the 2 to 3 year mark, you should be able to negotiate with them. It's gonna plummet your credit score, but it's okay because once you negotiate with collectors, you ask them to remove that from your credit score. So if you're willing to sacrifice 2 to 3 years of your credit score to really get a discount on your credit cards without having to pay so much interest, it's a strategy, but please be very careful. I wouldn't do that with very small amounts that you can take care of. Your credit score is very important, especially when you're at a young age.
I have a fucking problem. This is all the shopping that I've done within the last 2 to 3 weeks. I think this is gonna be my biggest haul. The bigger the haul, the more trashed my mental health is.
Oh, that end of the video was surprising. Oh gosh, over-consumerism. Whew, I mean, that looks like a lot of purchases. I don't know, she may have had, 10 kids to have all of that, although I see some handbags and stuff. Oh man, what's going on with this? This is consumerism. Please, guys, don't get too much influenced by everything on social media and the brand new things. I'm still carrying an iPhone that's 2.5 years old. No, but seriously, we don't need to upgrade on everything. Somehow, it puts us into a vicious circle of having to consume. And then what? Then you're part of the 38% of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck, making over 6 figures. Is that worth it? No, but seriously.
I always get questions as to why I have so much credit card debt. This is it. I'm spring cleaning my apartment and I did something incredibly stupid. I must be a masochistic little idiot because I realized that I am literally the woman who lived in her shoes. I counted and there are 60 pairs.
Oh.
It takes up literally the entire area. So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt.
5 figures of credit card debt? And you have 66 pair of shoes? No, but come on, man.
It right here. Ignore the noise. There's construction going on in my building, but this is absolutely disgusting. And shamefully, I think only like 5 of these pairs are under $300. Okay.
Oh my gosh, hold on, let's make some math. So she said 5, so about 60 pair of shoes are over $300. What, that's $18,000 at least worth of shoes? Oh gosh, I mean, if she carries that balance for 1 year, she's gonna be paying $26,000, maybe a little less. Guys, this is bad. I mean, how many pair of shoes can you wear? Come on.
So I saw something the other day that said, poor people use debit cards, rich people use credit cards. I don't have any credit cards. Should I?
So here's the thing. People get credit cards for mainly one reason. So they can buy crap they don't have the money to buy.
Right.
And then they justify it going, well, I need to build my credit. That's what they say. Because that's what rich people do. Rich people build their credit. Bull crap. All the rich people that we interview say they get out of debt and stay out of debt. And that's how they got rich.
Well, you know, my father would always say in the European mindset, you only spend money that you have, and what you get debt for is for investments.
Pay payments all the time. Because, see, there's only one way to build your credit, go in debt, right?
Right.
Why? So you can build your credit. Why? So I can go into debt. Why?
Well, hold on, Dave, I'm sorry. I mean, in some aspects, there are some ways that I still contradict a little bit with Dave. You know, we're not in 1985 anymore, my dear friend. But jokes apart, honestly, there are so many plays that you can have with leveraging credit and credit cards to really give you some cashback opportunities as well as points, insurance. I mean, Dave, what do you think about kind of trip insurance, right? Or car insurance when you make a car rental and so on. There are so many benefits once you're past a certain threshold. Now, let me tell you straight away, the Sephora card or the Home Goods or the TJ Maxx is not gonna give you any benefits. Those are absolutely trash. I never recommend anyone to get off those. If you wanna get and build your credit, well, generally, I would recommend always to start with a big institution because you can elevate that card over time. Do I agree that, you know, we should rely more on debit card? Well, personally, I never use a debit card. You know, I enjoy the insurance of credit cards, but I never carry a balance. So in that case, depending on the financial situation that she's in, credit card could be good, assuming that she's able to pay it every month. I disagree here. You don't need to be rich to get a credit card. Anyone can have a credit card. It's just about the behavior that's important.
No credit cards at all, like 0 credit cards? How do you rent a car? How do you build a credit? How do you live in a life that you can't even have a credit?
There's only one reason to build credit, and that's to borrow money. If you don't plan to borrow money, you don't need to build credit.
But what about like a mortgage?
Well, you can get a mortgage with manual underwriting.
Okay, I mean, could you get a mortgage without having a credit score? Yes. But come on, let's be real. Actually, there are really 3 forms that you can get. Manual underwriting, where you kind of showcase history of good payments and employment. You also have FHA loans that don't really require any minimum credit score for first home buyers. And of course, USD and VA loans, you do not need any credit score for those for our military.
Probably the best simple credit.
Ooh, we're getting there, guys. I like this one.
I could recommend for the average person to get. Put all 3 of these cards together and you get what's called the Chase Trifecta.
The Chase Trifecta. I love it.
Like I said, it consists of 3 cards. The Chase Freedom Flex, the Chase Freedom Unlimited, and a choice between the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The Chase Freedom Flex you'll use for the rotating 5x back.
That's right, every quarter you select 5% on gas, 5% on like Sam's Club, Costco, 5% on departmental stores.
Categories that can include gas, groceries, or even streaming services. The Chase Freedom Unlimited you can use as a catch-all card with 1.5x back on everything else. And then in my case, you can use the Chase Sapphire Reserve for dining or even traveling in comfort.
Now this card is expensive, guys. I think it's close to $600 per year. But wait, you're gonna tell me, Romain, why do I need such an expensive card? Wait. Number one, as you can see on the screen right here, there are a ton of benefits that come from it. And let me tell you right away, this is not sponsored. I'm just kind of speaking from my own experience. I've been loving this card.
You're pairing 2 no annual fee cards, and then maybe you can start with a $95 annual fee with the Sapphire Preferred, or you can jump right in and get the $550 annual fee Sapphire Reserve. Put the 3 cards together and you can actually combine the points of these 2 cards onto this card, and you can do some sweet traveling that way too.
That's right. So what you're doing is you're combining the points from the 2 smaller no annual fees, you feed it to the Sapphire, and when you want to travel, boom, 1.5 times your points. On some aspects, you can get up to 7.5% back. That is called, guys, the Chase Trifecta. I love it, and if you want to go with the lower option at $95, it still works as well. Guys, I'm telling you, if you're able to play the credit card game well, you can milk them up.
Hi, yeah, can I get 3 burgers, please? Sure, it's gonna be $50, Mr. Big Back. Excuse me?
$50?
$50. Oh, okay, here you go. Wait, hold on. I forgot I only have $40 in my account. Oh, well, it looks like it went through. Wait. Really? I thought it would have gotten declined. Oh, it's because you pay with a debit card, so your bank covered the rest for you. Oh, well that's nice of them. But they're gonna charge you a $35 overdraft fee on top.
Whee! $35. Now, I'm gonna keep you guys on a secret that the banks don't want you to know. Every consumer, every year, has an allowance by the bank on how much they can reimburse back on fees, okay? So I've tried to push that number as much as I could just to understand what that means. When you get hit by overdraft fees, this stays between us. You can call the bank and ask it to be an exception and say, oh, something happens and so on. Now, are you gonna do it 5 times, 10 times during the year? No. But if it happens maybe 1, 2, 3 times, that can generally work. The bank are gonna be wanting to work with you. They wanna maintain the relationship with you and maintain you as a consumer.
You know, there's that new trend going around where we help each other pay off each other's debt, but hear me out. How about we just stop? How about we just don't pay it? Why are you still trying to participate in a system that's rigged against
who use credit cards to pay for, you know, whatever I may assume that you spent? What the hell?
Let's just not pay our debt.
Okay.
Don't pay your student loans. Don't pay your credit card bills. Medical debt? Fuck it. Who cares? Don't pay your debt. Stop paying. Like, y'all are still trying to play within a system. It's broken. It's broken.
And so what are you gonna do then?
I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I can't do that because I need to get XYZ and I won't be able to do XYZ if I stop paying my bills. And that's the point. That's the point. Is that they set this up so that you fear not paying them and getting punished for it. That's how they keep this going.
Well, then why are you taking debt in the first place if you don't have the amount? You know, you can't just buy, and they say, oh, peace, ciao, bella. That doesn't work. What the hell?
So if all of us collectively as a whole just stop paying, what are they gonna do?
Okay, gosh, yeah, well, all right. Let's, the French Revolution 2.0, let's stop paying everything on money that we use when we don't have the money. Let's go. No, but come on. Let's be real. Although, when you think about it, bankruptcy, it's kind of the definition of what she's saying.
I have one more hot take. Credit card debt is not normal.
That's right.
I feel like people make a joke out of it on this app. I get it. If you are in between jobs, you are struggling, and you genuinely need to accumulate credit card debt. This is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about people that go out to dinners, go on vacation. I feel like there's a lot of young, impressionable people on this app, and I want you guys to know that it is not.
It is not normal.
I talk to my friends. We do not have credit card debt. Right. It is not funny. Unfortunately, real life is real. Living within your means is so much better. I
mean, yeah, she's totally right. As I mentioned earlier, in Europe, there is not, and even in the rest of the world, we kind of live here in a bubble in the United States that kind of push us towards experiencing and buying things that we cannot afford. Social media is blasting us, kind of your peers, your friends, you're seeing vacations and things that, for the most part, you know, the very vast majority of the populations, they cannot afford those things. And so they get into debt, then they sit on this chair right here, crying in front of my house because they have $100,000 of debt. And what do I tell them? Well, maybe you shouldn't have gone to Hawaii.
Was one of those people for quite a long time. You really have to discipline yourself. You just have to practice a lot of self-discipline about what you're spending, how you're spending it. I mean, today, And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's just so much stuff out there and there's so much waste. And I think a lot of people spend money impulsively. And part of it is a high, wanting to achieve a high. Oh, I'll feel great if I buy.
And you market it for that, just let you know. Huh? You know, companies are spending billions of dollars on their marketing to make sure that they have the flashy color, the flashy logo. Oh, buy one, get this. Guys, all of those are psychological tricks to encourage our impulse buys.
But then think of the consequences when the credit card bill comes. And
60% of people that spend on their credit cards when the bill comes next month have some form of regret for it.
Credit card debt for decades. What a relief it is to not have any.
If you have credit card debts and you're watching, it's not a death sentence. You know, it's okay as long as you're able to take the right action plan. Prioritize your spend and strategize on your debt repayment, focusing on the highest interest first. Don't be played by the system, play it. Use some of the strategies that we've discussed together. Guys, just do better. I see you in the next video. À bientôt.